and get into the new trading week. This is going to be a week of ultra volatility. And I also would like to ask how it sounds out of my headset. We'll see if it gives a little bit more clarity or if I need to unplug it because it's making it a little harder to hear. It's very hard for me to know until I do know. But I'll wait for everybody to get in here. We'll try to do this in a proper fashion. I'll go through the ins and outs here once we get started. But I got to click it on here so I can hear how it sounds through my headset. I'm trying to see if this helps with sound quality at all. Maybe it'll help from muffling some of the sound. But I don't know because I have not heard anything yet and I need to wait for feedback. So let me hear. Because I have not heard anything yet and I need to wait for feedback. So let me hear. Because I have not heard anything yet and I need to wait for feedback. That's me. That's me. That was me on the background just listening to it. So hopefully it's coming through good. If I hear a bunch of people say no, it's a lot more it's harder to hear and things like that, I'll unplug it. But I just wanted to see out of curiosity if this would make it a little bit easier. But this week, a lot of stuff to talk about. The Fed's going to speak this week. We have a lot of decisive action in cryptocurrency. But let's start out by saying this is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. And if you are going to make a decision based on what you say on my analysis or based on what the community says, make sure that it's in your heart that this is the move you would like to make. There are certainly no guarantees right now in the way the daily time frame is set up. It is set up in a scenario where, like some are saying, bust or boom. We're either going to have this grand rising or we're going to have this great fall. I know that we have 4, 5, 6% across the market. And right now we're looking at two things. One, if you look at IOTA and most of the other ones that are set up like this, we are in the process right now of making an attempt of either this is where we're going to hold or this is where we're going to end up falling through and we're going to give back that daily time frame. It's going to invalidate that thesis and then we'll come back down to the uptrend, maybe somewhere around 16 cents for IOTA. The problem is here, if you buy exactly at this spot and you haven't been riding it on the way up or you didn't sell and you're trying to layer back in on the way back down, the problem is here is if you buy right now at this exact moment, you're going to have to ride it until the break point of about 15.1 cents. So about 15 cents. So what I've been trying to do here the last few days is not just say, oh, it's in the daily golden cross, but if you buy it here, you're going to have to sit here for about 27%. You're going to have to sit here for about 27% and see exactly how this pans out, because to buy it here in the micro and then get rid of it before the pattern breaks down is going to do you a disservice 9 times out of 10. A lot of times people will say, well, I'm not going to enter at this point because it's too volatile, and that's completely understandable. Daily time frame and 4 hourly look completely different. 4 hourly is working on a possible head and shoulders topping reversal to where this could be a shoulder that drops us back down into here, which in turn would invalidate the daily time frame. But so many of them are dealing with this daily golden cross that is the overall setup we're looking at this morning. I'll go down 5%, but hasn't done anything different than the weekend. Basically, we came outside of where the Chicago Mercantile Exchange closed, and now all we're doing is retesting those areas from the end of the week. So it is very, very truly difficult to say whether or not we're going to fully break out, or if we're stuck in the mud here, if we are built on quicksand and this is just going to fall apart. That's my overwhelming fear. But at the same time, you can't roll with just fear. You have to let it play out. And then if your fear is founded, there's no problem in letting go of the position when it breaks down the fundamental setup. And then you buy it at the next lower levels. That's what I am looking at right now. And that's why I've been trying to be so transparent in the openings now and telling you, if you're going to ride it from this point, there is a 25% hiccup that you're going to have to sit through, accumulate, and do what you got to do if this is the first entry you've made. Fortunately for us, we've been making these entries and we've been riding this for quite some time. It's not just crypto. Look at commodities. Look at precious metals. There is 3 bearish candles that we have to watch out for. And this could be the retracement here of a hardcore standard for not just crypto, but for precious metals, if we're looking at it. And yeah, I understand even with consolidation through the metals and mining stocks are way up. but still we're going through one of those fundamental shifts here. We're not exactly sure what's going on. We don't know what the Fed's going to say, so we're going to get an awful lot of shaking back and forth here. So the difference between, and we see it all the time, how the poor have no chance. Lori said it this morning once again. The poor do have a chance, but you've got to understand fundamental setups. Like, we weren't just buying here. We've been in for some time, swinging in and out. Now it's the time where you try to build towards a position if you're sitting in, but once it gives you that moment where it tells you we've broken down, you don't have to sit in it for 50%. But the smart investors, they buy a fundamental setup and they start unloading when we start getting top heavy like we are now. Now, that doesn't mean the daily time frame doesn't play out. That doesn't mean that I'm going to 100% liquid. What that means is we built into positions. They've gone up a hell of a lot from the beginning. And now we've been swinging in and out. But now it's that time period where it's either you're in or you're out. You're either waiting for the colossal breakdown. You're sitting in until the no man's land is hit, because technically if you're trading crypto, you're looking to invest into a future price appreciation. Now, it is dicey because we've come up so far in some assets while others are still at 2021 lows or 22 lows or bear market lows, or have come up 1x but are still down 90 to 95% from 21. So it makes it extremely difficult to make your first entry here. I acknowledge that. It also makes it extremely difficult to just sell 100% if the rotation's not broken. But with that being said, a front runner has still been XRP healthcare. It seems to be pulling down this wall, but at the same time, it hasn't given it all back. If it does, you're talking about a complete colossal reversal here across the board, and that's not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty. Like, Dent's down 3%, but it's still up about 15-20% from before. Band's down about 1%, but it's still up from 68 cents. Zill's down 3.29%, but it just came up from just over 1 cent in the last couple of weeks. It's the same story across the board. Are we getting these back tests in the daily time frame to continue up, or are these the colossal reversals that send us straight into hell? That's the question. And I am not a wizard. I can see forward thinking, and I can see the avenue where this could break down, but at the same time, it hasn't happened yet. We're still back testing these golden crosses at a much harder level in most of these assets. And it's extremely, extremely difficult right now to be buying in, like we've said all weekend, without understanding the optics here, that there is about a 25% return down if you just enter right now and it's your first entry. You're going to have to sit in it for about 1/4 of your portfolio, and that is a lot to ask. Algo's not at 8 cents anymore like when we were doing FOMO Friday and Winning Wednesdays and Motivated Mondays. You know, XLM's not at 10 cents. XDC's not at 2.8 cents. IOTA's not at 9 cents. You know, VChain's not at 1.2 cents. Zill's not under a penny. So they have come up a lot. But it's that opportunity of this next step. Now, the next step could simply be having the foresight and understanding our get out of jail free cards to look down to the next level if in fact it goes that route. The whole weekend we've talked about this nervous energy, but at the same time you can't do much if you're buying these daily patterns or you're riding them out through these daily golden crosses, because right now Ethereum is on top of 3,564. You know, and it is trying to push out on these daily golden crosses into the next layer. We're trying to signal alt season, but it is very, very, very dangerous. Hopefully you all can hear me better. Today I have my headset on. I don't know how it's going to sound, but I figured I would try it one time because this is how I talk on my phone and it comes in very clear. But with the way YouTube is, it's very hard to just put on a second piece of equipment, especially with how I do my live. So hopefully it comes in with some decent quality this morning. But again, that's up to your guys' interpretation. I can't really know. Today's Julie's birthday today, her 39th birthday. So it's a happy, happy birthday here. Very excited. I got her a lot of stuff that we're going to, one by one, she's going to get as the day goes on. So, you know, I can't say what it is, but there'll be a lot of stuff. Dan, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Poop Soup, good morning. Syrian, welcome in and thanks for being a very trusted mod and also part of Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Jack, good morning. Joseph Euler and Papa Wheelie, thanks for tuning in for 6+ months with the XRP Meteor. And Wales, Josie Wales, if you're out there in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. I missed your $10 super chat yesterday when you warned about upcoming volatility this weekend, good or bad. A little bit of advice that he put in last night's live, but YouTube was kind of not allowing me to see all the comments, which was annoying. I did the best I could, but, you know, I did miss a few things. So thank you so much for that yesterday, Wales, Josie Wales, and giving the foresight of a very volatile upcoming week. Jack, good morning. UK Phil, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Syrian, thank you for being a very trusted mod in here and also in the Telegram and in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Steven, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. It is indeed boomer bust. John Page, welcome in. He says, I'm 15,000 miles away, and I hear you fine. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Unknown, let's go H-bar. Yes, we're having that beautiful back test. And we'll see how far this has to go. But so far this week, you know, we're turning into quite the kick in the nuts here to start the week. Ethereum is definitely stuck in the mug, bid dog. We're trying to see if we can exacerbate alt season or if we still got a big retracement on Ethereum back down to 3,200. That's the big question of if we can hold that 3,500 plus level. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Unknown, welcome in. The Gatman, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Arichi, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Define Group, thanks for tuning in and being in Tom's Army for not only over 3 months with the XRP Meteor, being a very trusted mod in here and a very influential part of being one of the admins in the Telegram. Love it. Lori Watson, welcome in. Remain hopeful, but understand that retail is oftentimes the liquidity kicking the you-know-what. So we fund the liquidity. Ben B, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor along with Jorge. And Jorge, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and an admin in the Telegram. And he says, hello, people. Hello, Tom. Make sure you subscribe to the best TA on YouTube. At least hit that like button. But consider subscribing. And he wished a happy birthday to Julian. We greatly appreciate that. Terrell Long, good morning. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month along with Jesse with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Frankie Fresh, good morning, old friend. And I hope your significant other's having a fantastic start to this week. And thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor and being a very influential part of what we do around here. It means a lot to me. Michael Voltage, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Thank you for the happy birthday to Julie, and I hope you're having a blessed week so far to start. Lee, good morning, and thank you so much for the happy birthday for Julie. Says, all happy birthday, 39 Forever Club. Absolutely. I forever passed that 39 and we'll be hitting that 42 club this year. Crazy Paul, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Chris, thank you for the happy birthday wishes to Julie. Joseph, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. The $20 donation as well. Wow, definitely going above and beyond this morning. That's incredibly generous. And says, happy birthday, Julie. Thank you for all your work, Tom. You are welcome, and I appreciate that so much. Yes, Nick, that's the beauty of what's happened so far. And we don't know if this is going to be the end. But technically, Bitcoin did fill the gap from yesterday, and I think it was around 118 roughly. But we'll see. We will see. But thank you for being a very trusted mod in here, an admin, the technical advisor in the community in the Telegram, having your own page so people can hit you up if they've got questions, concerns, or just would like your input. I'd say he's my right-hand man. I would say he's my understudy, but he's much more wise than just a typical understudy. He will lead you in the right direction, and he's a very humble and a very forward-giving person. So don't take advantage of his time. Don't take advantage of his knowledge. Actually try to learn something, and don't just make him do the work for you. I don't appreciate that when I see that kind of stuff. But what I do appreciate is you guys asking him, not demanding, not just sending in 100% of all your stuff for him to rework, but I mean listen to what he's saying. Try to do it on your own, and don't ask him to, redo your work. Try to do your work based on what he's teaching you, and then try to come to a fundamental conclusion. The man has a 9 to 5. He does a lot of work for everybody else, and he certainly is trying to do the greater good, so don't take advantage of it. Coming from a point of power or a point of a position where I feel that you can be taken advantage of or also give the advantage. We're rather giving the advantage than trying to take advantage in this community. Remember that. You're not trying to give or take the advantage. We're trying to give the advantage. So don't take from the advantage. Actually give back and do your part. That's a true statement. Good morning. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, July 28th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Michigan, also known as Julie Day today, as it's her birthday. Ta-da is welcoming, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Just signed it. Thanks for being in your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. As usual, yes, ZBCN is doing its own usual thing. I agree with that. Devin, good morning, and thanks for being a very trusted mod and also being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon badge. Nick says Ethereum very close to filling its CME gap as well. I know that's what I was waiting for this morning. That's why I said, hey guys, I know it looks bad, but we're technically filling the gaps left from the weekend. But we'll see. We'll see if the daily can play strong or if the 4 hourly is trying to tell us of a short-term reversal that the daily just can't hold. I'd like to think the daily can hold, but we're in a very volatile week, and all we can do is watch, maintain, try to put up a basic fundamental setup, and try to see, you know, what's in store for us this week. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting week. Very interesting. Frankie Fresh said Tom's last night live was amazing. Love your energy. I appreciate that. I try. I really do try to make it as transparent as I can and try to come with the positive vibes without burying people within my vice on accident. Sometimes I accidentally put the balls on a vice grip unintentionally with people when I'm trying to be serious, and it just comes out because I go from reading from the charts to the comments, and then it does not sound great. But I think we did a good job the last couple of days, besides minor moments. John Bugathorpe, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. Hi, Tom. Happy Monday and a new week of opportunity. Beautifully stated. Beautifully stated. Let's see. Thank you, Jess Send It, for the happy birthday for Julie. And also, Big Dog, thank you so much. And thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Lee, the trend is still our friend until it's not. You are 100% correct. We're on the right side of town right now until we're not. Thank you, everybody, for the happy birthdays to Julie. Kyle Kupiak, Cape Cod. Kyle, welcome in from Massachusetts, along with Mosey here. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And thank you, Nick, Kyle, and Mo for wishing Julie a happy birthday. Let's see. Big Dog says, Tom, tell Julie, thanks for lending you to us. I certainly will. And she's more than giving. She knows we're doing something for the greater good here. Lee says, Julie is so beautiful, such an awesome fam life. Tom, the GOAT husband and father, and helping us too. So grateful for your wisdom and time. Oh, I appreciate that. And speaking of which, I got to make sure something didn't get delivered for Julie. It's important. This is the beginning. I know, because I want to be surprised. And then there's something in the kitchen for later. But there's a lot of stuff coming. This is just the start, Julie. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if you could hear me that far away, but maybe you could because I have my headset on. Let's see. Did I already say thank you for yes, I did. I already said thank you to Joseph for the $20 donation from Joseph. Thank you so much for that. Define says, Tom, we now have our very own technical lounge room discussion on all things charts with Nick Morales. Huge benefit for new members to join the absolutely. I did talk about that when I was talking about Nick, and I said don't take advantage of him to the audience. I said let's do this as a team effort, but also remember Nick has a 9 to 5 and he has his own life as well. So, but if you're looking for the technical lounge with Nick, it's right here. Notice there's been a ton of questions and a ton of conversation as well, which is beautiful. A lot of different things you can do there. Make sure if you go in, you look at the Big House Readers Digest. We have every Sunday we put out a little news thing from of the week going on, and this was the second issue, and I thank the Fine Group for his hard work with that. But it is kind of cool what we got, not kind of, it's really cool what we have going on there. And make sure, don't forget about XRPFutureMillionaire.com. And Defined, I liked your ideas. I just don't know how I'm going to be able to link all of that together. I'll have to figure it out. But you can go through the charts. They're dedicated servers, live API. It's got the volume on there automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. But let's go into Ethereum real quick. Let's go into Ethereum. So we've got Ethereum. We're going to the US dollar. We can see the volume portfolio. Doesn't look awful right now, actually. Nice big W reversal. Nice inverse head and shoulders set up here. It already back tested the breakout. Now we're back testing alt season. So what I like to do here, and yes, you can't take off the volume because that's what I put on there for you as a gift from me to you. Because you need to see the volume. I don't care what anybody says without the volume. The rest of the indicators don't mean dick. So now moving average convergence divergence. We want to see volume flow. Notice in the monthly how we're about to flip bullish. Notice how the trend line we're about to break past it bullish. If this happens, this is the start of alt season. Legitimately the start of alt season. Now some people would also put on the RSI, which fortunately for you can put on 3 here. So the relative strength index, forget the RSI divergence indicator. I don't like the stochastic RSI. I mean, you can do the stochastic RSI, but I just want the real relative strength index for this moment. Forget all the nonsense. Look, we crossed bullish on the relative strength index in a monthly sense. That is extremely bullish signal. And now if the moving average convergence divergence, the MACD pulls ahead as well, oh my God. And it looks like we're about to flip bullish. We're on the verge. Down 2.22% today, which is ironic as we're talking about that. So, I mean, when you're looking at it from a standpoint of, hey, maybe this is going to be okay here. The days range were at the low. It was up to 3,941, down to 3,772. I mean, if you're going to look for an entry, you're going to want to hit the day's low range if it's going to hold. We had to fill out the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME gap. So, I mean, looking at Ethereum, you're starting to look at some very ominous signals here where that MACD is about to cross over bullish for the first time in a little while on the monthly. So, I mean, this is going to be very interesting if this happens. I mean, very interesting. And I'm all for it because we've been waiting for alt season, but well, yeah, if you look at the 1 day, yeah, the micro is always going to be up and down. You got to look at it for a more confluent. You're not going to buy in based on the 1 day for a longer term hold. Yeah, for your micro purchase, you're going to look at the 1 day, but what circumvents the 1 day or the 1 month, James? And I love that you talked about the 1 day because it looks horrendous in the 1 day. 100%, I do not disagree with you. The 1 day looks horrendous, so it's corrective. But in the daily, we're trying to come back and test. That's why I keep saying we're testing alt season. We're back testing alt season. What's going to win out? The smaller time frames or the actual monthly, the bigger time frames, which you're right, these smaller time frames look horrendous. Even the 4 hourly, when you break into it, you can see a bearish bias, and this is where the trouble begins. So, absolutely, taking the stock what James is saying, but the only thing we can really do when you're looking to build a position is you're looking for a more, yes, you're looking at the micro for perfect entry, but when you're looking at, if you've been in for some time, you've got to look at it based around the monthly to see what kind of actual trend we're building. And the monthly speaks a hell of a different line than the weekly, than the daily, than the 4 hourly, than the hourly. So when you're in a very volatile state, I encourage you to start where James has said, because you absolutely have to look at that from the smaller perspective, especially if you're looking for an entry right now. The 4 hourly, the daily will absolutely throw you off into a better buying position if you're looking for the micro attention. But from a macro point of view, if you're in this long term and you're trying to see if Ethereum is going to break into alt season, you've got to start looking at it from the monthly and try to build a conclusion. Because those 4 hourlies and daily are going to hammer you time and time again. Because remember, when you're in a bullish cycle, that daily, the 4 hourly is allowed to sit in overbought. Maybe it'll even come back to neutral and never come. Look in the fridge, Julie. Maybe it'll not, and there's a reason for those candles. There's a reason. Look in the fridge. They didn't have your chocolate one, which I was mad about. But I know.
I like the milk.
And it was a well thought out one.
And these are for the cake.
Yes.
They're gigantic.
We're giving you gigantic candles. I wanted to do something different. It's your 39th birthday. We're going to do it in style, damn it. And all day until like 6 o'clock tonight, you're going to have gifts coming. Assuming they came in the way I wanted, because I tried to strategically get them delivered.
And thank you, everybody, for the birthday.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, yeah, I got her a bouquet.
Thank you, buddy.
And everybody, she said thank you for all the birthday wishes. She really is. She's very appreciative.
Yeah, my girl said we have a birthday.
There's nothing wrong with that, James. There's nothing wrong with that. Julie, do you have the bouquet up there that I can show them?
My girl has already sent me a happy birthday.
I wanted to start her off with a nice bouquet. But I have so much other stuff that I have thought about that I have set up. And that's a great idea, James, especially with what you're seeing. They say we're a power couple, Julie. These are the little bouquet I got her. I wanted to get her a nice vase with the bouquet because she likes vases, but she hates roses unless I grow them. So I got her, I put a strategic one together. So I thought she would like it. I just wish I could have put it together myself. Julie, you just spilled water on us. I know you love them, but you don't have to hug them. Julie just got water all over. Let's see, JBHK, thanks for being a very trusted mod and for the congratulations to Julie for her beautiful birthday. And you know, we're gonna take this in stride. We're gonna relax with Julie on her birthday this morning too. Julie, will you bring me the stuff? I think it's right there by your coffee. The massive candles that drop depends what time frame you're in. In the 4 hourly, yeah, you could obviously say, hey, these might be reversal candles, but at the same time, you're always coming down to try to test the 20-day. These could come down farther in the 2 hourly and retest the 200-day. It's not uncommon. What we really wanted to see here, let me get rid of this out of the way. Let me get rid of this just so we can see a little bit easier without all the circles. What we really want to see here, and if we start looking at this transparently, and yesterday we had it over the top, which I don't know what happened when I was looking at my phone, but right here, we're basically still in a good spot, because if you come up here from resistance in the 2 hourly, resistance, resistance, back to resistance, now can it be support? So this is important for Bitcoin right here, because technically at a descending triangle, you could say, that we broke out of, and these are bullish consolidations if it can hold the back test. So it's going to be tricky here. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be tricky because every time frame has us kind of thinking something different. But I like to go from the daily, especially when it looks the way it does. Then I'll go into the weekly. And from the daily perspective, and Bitcoin's not the gatekeeper right now, but it would help to hold this fundamental setup so we don't have to go back to 113 or even down to 91. And when you start looking at it from a weekly perspective as well, it still gives you the bias that it should come to 126 based on that consolidation, unless for whatever reason it breaks down. Like, I'm not too worried right now, to be honest with you. I am not too worried until these daily time frames give it back, until Ethereum does not look the way it does here with the crossover with the MACD potentially happening in real time, with the RSI crossing over in the daily. We're in a very typically bullish range here. And I understand that it looks like shit. Believe me. I understand more than anybody that this setup, when you look at it in the smaller time frames, will make you run faster than if Jeffrey Dahmer was chasing after you. I believe it. But you also got to remember, you know, it might just be the image of what it looks like right now. You might just be afraid of what's been told or what you see in the smaller time frames. Don't run so quickly until it's giving you the swift kick in the dick. I'm going to tell you this over and over again today. A lot of this is a setup to get you running for the hills. And if the daily time frame plays out, who cares what the 4 hour says or the, you know, it's going to be if the 2 hourly says one thing, but the daily showing us this huge crossover we haven't seen in 6 months. Holy Toledo. The last time we seen a crossover of any kind on Ethereum in the MACD in this big of a time frame was a bearish crossover. And that was when we hit the top of our peak of our run back earlier in the year. This is the first time since then that we're going to have a legitimate style crossover after a nice consolidation. We've already had one, but we back tested this crossover. And in the RSI, we never got to hold confluently. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't want anybody to make an irrational decision on the smaller time frames. So I heard it's billions for 104 for Bitcoin. Ricky says, the other day I asked ChatGPT who are the most reputable XRP YouTubers / content creators, and it was very reassuring that you came back as one of the top 10, if I remember correctly. Well, if I didn't come back as top 3,
That's good for.
although I would say, bar none, what I do for XRP community is the most hands down, most reputable technical analysis, and I'm not tooting my own horn. The fact that AI is recognizing is awesome, but I would hold my own content to a different level than everybody else I see on YouTube. And I only say that because every other XRP YouTuber on YouTube has a paid sponsorship, which means that they're compromised in such a way. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm just saying that to tell you the truth. I am in the same club as everybody else if I choose to be. But I have not chosen to join that club yet.
But that's so pretty.
It's awesome that I'm in the top 10. It's awesome. That is so cool.
You were recognized by
AI recognizes me, and now is that Rose trying to get on my good side before she takes my job? I don't know. We're gonna have to look into that defined group because Rose is stepping it. No, she's our AI, and I tell her I've seen the Terminator. So remember, I control your fate, but at the same time, I know I don't. Every other crypto YouTuber blows smoke up our ass, while Tom is the only one with real TAs and no hope. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'd rather not blow smoke and lose subscribers. It's true. It's damn true, as Kurt Angle would say. Lighter. I have one, as it turns out. Oh, you gave me it. I was gonna say, where did this come from?
Yeah.
You really don't hate your bouquet.
No, I love it.
It took me a while to find that one.
I like the little purple flowers.
I wish I could have put it together from our own garden.
Well, we don't have enough flowers.
I know, because they're all on the second
That's like
page.
the living bouquet.
True. That's true.
I have a living bouquet in our yard, all over.
I know, it's true.
And our eggplants.
I know we have 8 eggplant now. When I showed you guys the video the other day, there was only 4 when I upgraded my garden. Now there's 8. Soon to be like 16.
For everyone.
We got a nice bumblebee making love to that whole section. Oh, it's so happy. It's going in there, pollinating. It's getting its fix. But look at this. I love what I'm seeing this morning. A lot of uncertainty. A lot of people ready to jump out the window. You know, I will never sell my soul like the other. Trust me, I'm not a soul seller. My Lord and Savior is my guider. Period. And I've said oftentimes that, you know, easy money or blood money, not all money is good money. And if I'm taking from the audience instead of creating abundance for us all, then I'm doing the wrong thing. I would rather make my money not off the backs of my audience, but off the backs of the elite that are trying to give us the advantage. I know it sounds crazy when I say that, but they give us the golden ticket if we're willing to look at it. And then when we say, hey, the elite get away with all this stuff, so can we. We just have to put ourselves in a position to take advantage of it. If they can do it, so can we. They make you feel like you can't do it so that we're not on the same playing field, but we are, just at a smaller scale. In fact, we have a lot more on the line. So right now, debt being down 3.14%. It's the same fundamental thing we've been talking about. I'm going to continue to redo these charts day by day in front of you. I deleted this all from yesterday so we could do it in real time. Remember what oh, it came back. Damn it. On my phone, I deleted it, but I put it back on my tablet. I knew it was going to do that. All right, well, I was going to do it in real time for you, but you see what it looks like. We came up to that first big resistance. So it's normal in the weekly now to come back in the 2 hourly to see if there's something to have. The 2 hourly said, well, you know, it's a little too volatile here. That's fine. So now we go to the 4 hourly. Now it's the trueness because we're trying to build this golden cross in the 4 hourly. Daily's just trying to power through. We're at the main resistance point. And this is exactly where you would expect the consolidation. Exactly. Fortunately, we wrote it up from the bottom of consolidation. Not all the way down, but somewhere around here. And it's just been day after day after day, steadily increasing. But we haven't got any real confluence yet for the breakout, which is fine. I'm okay with that because I know there's high levels of volatility. With XRP healthcare, for this short pattern, is it going to build a handle here or is it going to give it back? Nobody knows, but if it gives it back, we come back down here to 2.8 and it opens up my buy zone again. If it goes down to 2.8, I'm buying more. I'm going to have a very hard time not buying a lot. And I'm going to wait for this as long as it takes. As long as it takes, I'm going to wait. And just like the rest of them, I didn't just buy the rotation now, folks. We've been doing this for a long time. I've been here every single day since March 24th of 2021. That's a lot of days in a row. So we've seen a lot of this over and over and over. Repetitive nonsense, back and forth, up and down, kick you in the teeth. You know, so we'll see. I won't make any rash decisions on a Monday morning. Hell, I won't make any rash decisions this whole week until that daily time frame and that whole pattern consolidation says, nope, where it's over. And if it's over, it's fine. I'll be over for a minute, and then we'll come back in the stronger spot. But I'm not going to continue to allow the audience to be the bitch of the market by just selling in and buying out, buying in and selling out. No, you got to wait for the fundamental approach. You can't sell out of XDC when it's on a breakout right now. Can't do it. And this is set up weird. Why did it do this? But when you're on the breakout, you can't just sell out. And there's a couple layers you can do this. Actually, you know what? The second layer would be very nice from up here. Watch this in the daily. Look at that. It's giving us a two-part entry. A two-part setup. So yeah, XDC's come up beautifully from 7.7 cents just about, what, a week and a half ago? But now that we've got into this next layer, this is awesome now. Now we can start to delegate what we think is going to happen here going forward. And I like when we get into delegation. And I'm not talking about politics, folks. I hate delegation and politics. Because all they're doing is delegating away from us. Taking away more of our shit. But in crypto, we're delegating the next part of the pattern. Golden cross in the daily finally for XDC on the back test finally. 50 crossed 100, 100 crossed, or 50 crossed to 200, 100 crossed to 200. This is just a fortified pattern consolidation and setup. Huge, beautiful reversal here. Breaking out of first layer, get past the second layer. We're in the game. So we got to get past 983 to start pushing up towards 14. But we are cooking right now. May not look like it if we have to go back down a little bit to back test. But even now where we're at, we're cooking right now. Until this 7 cent area broke or 7.2, you're cooking. You're on a breakout attempt here. Now you're trying to push layer to layer to layer. Lee says, interested in how you chart. You can't. Once you push all-time highs, you don't know because you're in discovery. All you can do is try to set up a fundamental setup. So these are my all-time charts for XDC in this setup. So now the only thing I can do is say, oh, we break past the top layer and we take the evidence in front of us from the consolidation setup for the move up. And if we break up over the all-time pattern, I can give myself a setup into the stratosphere, but it doesn't mean it's guaranteed. This is all, you know, for most, it'll be illogical. But this is all an outward projection based on if we can hold different levels. We have no idea how far it goes in discovery. That's why once XDC does it, discovery is so low that we're going to ride this like champs once it happens. Discovery is right around 20 cents. Once we get into 20 cents, and because we went up there once, back tested, came down, back tested farther, once we get into discovery, it's going to be historic. So these are all just outward projections. You can't technically give a technical move, yes, like Crypto Cooter says, because there's no resistance. It's never occurred. But you can have the foresight to say this is how it's going to set up by staying in the same lane we normally do based on pattern setup. So yes and no. You can't put a concluent resistance because you've never seen it, but you can also try to chart it out into discovery. I've done it before very successfully in other assets. Very, very successfully. And, you know, it's just basically what you got to do. I don't use the fib. I personally don't like the Fibonacci retracement tool or the fib levels to begin with. I think it cheats. In a sense, you're cheating yourself based on the pattern setups. Now, some people do like the fib setups and they use it with their own analysis, but I feel like you get the fib setup anyhow if you understand proper technical analysis. Now, the fib's not going to tell you the retracement on something that's never happened or a level that's never been seen unless you try to do it yourself and put it into that exact spot. But the fib, it's just like any other indicator. I love the EMA lines, the 20, 50, 100, 200, but at the same time, I don't base my decisions on it. The chart's usually universally set up in the same way. Now, I do like to see what the technical trader is, but the technical trader is usually lagging with the indicators. So it does make it a little difficult. Ben Graham, good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Strider says, good morning. And good morning to you, friend. They love to dump on Monday. Just stay. Absolutely. That's why turnaround Tuesdays is a real thing in crypto. Because Mondays, and you know, sometimes it's down too low on the weekend, so it comes up to the CME gap on the top on a Monday morning. But this weekend we were going up, so we had to come back down to that same gap. That's why we talk about gap traders and things like that. It's very difficult to swing in the gap, but some people are very good at it. You're welcome, Lee. I try to do my best to respond to the question. Crypto Cooter says Tom's reputation speaks for itself. I appreciate that. I really do. I try to present myself with integrity and, you know, I'm trying to do it from the way of abundance, which is exactly how I started. The message never's changed since I started. The only difference between saying abundance now is back then I said I'm doing it for historical data. So if somebody says, hey, why didn't you try to teach us along the way? I can say, in fact, I did, and it was free every step of the way. So, and I've done like 5,000, how many videos have I done now? Insane amount. We got 45,100 subscribers, stuck in the mud right now, but I'm okay with that. 5,800 videos plus I've done since March 24th of 2021. If you do the math, it's an outrageous amount of videos per day. You got people on YouTube for 20 years that haven't even done 1,000 videos. So, you know, even if you do one podcast a day for 4.5 years, you know, that gets you to, for me personally, if I would have done one content creation per day, you know, I might have 1,500 videos. So put it in perspective that I've been doing on average about 4 a day for 4.5 years straight without a break. For a reason though, it's not in sin. I didn't waste my time. In fact, I would argue that we've created a certain level of abundance that for me personally, I mean, holy crap. I wouldn't have been able to attain without all of you. And then outside of that, for all of you not being able to attain it with me or with some in the audience, it might not even be me. It might just be by association. You know the proximity principle, have any of you ever heard of it? When you're trying to do something, you want to do it and you want to have the proximity principle in mind. And that means you want to be into proximity with people that are mindsets that you're trying to achieve. You ever see a poor person who dresses very nice and goes and hangs out in the rich part of town? Sure, he might not be able to be involved in that. My grandpa used to do it, as a matter of fact. My grandpa Speak, who came over from the boat from Italy, he did okay in the USA, but by no means was he well off. But he was the first person who brought his family over during the time of Mussolini. When they took over, my family had a shop there, and they ended up making it an outpost for the Nazis. And Mussolini turned his back on the people. So one by one, over a number of decades, my grandpa got all of his family members over until he was the last one to come over. on the boat from Italy, so it's not easy. And he made a way for himself. Then my dad made a name for himself. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. But now, second generation in, I'm able to turn the tides for the Spica family, so to say. My brother's done incredibly well. He's a very hard worker. My cousin Joey Spica, incredibly well. Very smart guy as well. But so we've absolutely been able to turn our family fortune and start to increase it now over the generations. Now, some of our family is doing incredibly bad. They made incredibly unwise decisions from a financial standpoint. But that's why it takes each and every day. Like, I'm not willing to not be here for one day, no matter what's going on. And people will leave during this part of the talk, which is fine, because we're at the back 15% of this live, because I want to hang out with Julie for her birthday. But, well, yeah, like Julie said, even when I have boo-boos and break my bones, when we have life-threatening conditions for our son, and whatever the case may be, hospitalized last year with them for a while. But we're still here because once you miss a day, you lose that repetition. And once you lose the repetition, you lose the foresight of what you see in front of you on the charts. And then you lose the directive with the community. Once it all falls apart, it's the same reason I go to the gym Monday through Friday without fail. Sometimes on Saturday if I can't make it one of the other days. Because I like to start my routine off in the morning with something that makes me feel like I've achieved something. So when I get up, take my shower, do what I got to do, shave, do whatever. The next thing I do, after, hopefully I make Julie's coffee if she's not up before me. Today I fortunately got to. But I like to make sure she's okay. And then I'll walk up to the gym. I do my hour. It takes me 20 minutes to walk there, 20 minutes to walk back. But that hour I'm in the gym, it's my way of not only beating myself up, but that's going to be the most strenuous thing I do all day with my body. And yeah, I broke my back at 23, and things are a lot different now than they used to be when I was younger. But I don't make an excuse. So that's how I started. So my advice to you, like, it was put into the Sunday Digest, the Reader's Digest, is start your day off. And this, I like how Define put this, because I think he did a very good job in all of this. A very good job. I hate when Telegram does this. So when we go to the big house, he put in that exact thought with what I'm saying. I love that he made a joke about Miss Rose too. The Rose bot. Now we got to call her Miss Rose so she doesn't yell at us. So my quick tip of the week. Start your day off. Start your day by identifying one key task that, if completed, would make the day feel productive, then do it first. This builds momentum, reduces procrastination, keeps you focused on what truly matters. And Julie knows. It can rain outside. I'm walking to the gym. I don't care. I'm walking. Nothing's going to stop me. If it's snow, I don't care. I'm still going. And I started going back and working out 2 weeks before Halloween on October of 2022. I joined the gym at the beginning of 23, like in March, when it started to turn around a little bit, March, April. But that simple act on 2 weeks before Halloween on October of 2022, I was in the store in CVS with Julie's mom and Scarlett, picked up Scarlett after school, and I used to go with Julie's mom because Julie would be with T. And she couldn't drive. At this time, Julie still couldn't drive because she had gone through like 7 surgeries on her ankle from the car accident that her and T were involved in. The same accident that broke T's femur and gave him a little head trauma, but he doesn't care. He just does his thing. He says, I don't care about the medical limitations. I'm just me. Right, Julie? Mm-hmm. And that's how you have to be. So I was sitting there and I seen these cheap weights and it triggered. I said, okay, it's time. It's been a couple of years. This is my identity. I haven't done it in a while. And I went back to it. And now, as of last week, I weighed myself. And when I first started, I was like 190 something pounds again, probably close to 200 when I started working out. And you guys remember how I looked when I started in this community. Little chunkier in the face and so on and so forth. But I weighed myself last week and I have more muscle than I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm 41, almost 42. And I weighed a number that I never thought I would see, and it was 168 pounds. So I sat there and I said, oh my God. But the point is when you start to build a fundamental approach to a day, my day come in 3 parts. My part, family part, alone part. And I know my part and alone part sound the same, but my part is in the morning doing my 60-second TA for the community on the way to the gym. getting myself ready, working out, coming home and doing a live or doing an update depending on my son's schedule. Then it becomes family day for the rest of the day. I still do some work, but all my day is focused around Julian T. And yeah, if I have to do some kind of updates, I do that. But then at night, I have a second day, I call it. So I live in 3 days, but my day, once T's asleep and Julie's asleep, that's truly another day for me. I don't like to go to sleep until 12 or 1 for a reason. Because they usually fall asleep at 9. I know I try to get Julie in bed by 9 because she likes to get up at 5:30. So then if T stays up, a lot of times he's asleep already, especially during school. But if he stays up till 10, well, for 2 or 3 hours, that's me time. And that's like when I let my brain go off. Sometimes I turn the PlayStation on, which I've done a piss poor job at doing the last couple of months, which I should do more of. But I try to get away from the charts too. Like that's the part of the day where I try to turn it off. You won't see me talking in Telegram until but then you'll often see me at 12 or 1 a.m. for some reason, because that's the right before I go to bed. I like to make sure I'm up to date on everything, and then my mind fires while I'm sleeping. And then I have weird dreams. So, yeah, Fortnite, please, ISO-20 here. Kelvin, so simple, ready? Find me, it's all the same. ISO, I believe it's all the same. Well, it's not underscore. Where the hell is the dash? I'm sure you can. Oh, dash 20022. Find me. That's all you got to type in. So simple. Because I put that in. I wanted to put XRP Future Millionaire, but it was too long. So I just went ISO-20022. Oh, yeah.
Right?
And I couldn't use my last name, Spica. Yes, SPICA, because it goes against terms of services, not only on the PlayStation or any social media now, when I do my gaming, but it goes against terms of services in a whole lot of other places because of the word SPIC in it. SPIC. Oh, I'm sorry that I can't control how I spell my name, but now I can't even, if I were to play NBA 2K whatever, I don't play those games anymore, but if I tried to make my own player, like let's say NCAA football, back in the day, I'd create Thomas Spica Jr. because, I'd put him in the thing, and sometimes I wouldn't even be the one to recruit him because my team wasn't good enough, and he'd go somewhere else and kick our ass. But I'd create my own player, and now when I try to do it, it says it goes against terms of services. Yes, you can all add me, whether you're on Xbox or not. That's my gamer tag, ISO-20022, and I have crossplay working. In fact, my nephew is on a computer, and he's my friend on Fortnite. And some other people that are on the Xbox, by association with him, are my friends on Fortnite. But it would be nice to have some adult conversation and kick some little kid's ass on Fortnite, except by myself. And I always tell Julie, I just ruined this kid's dreams, and I don't feel in the least with bad. But I do give them, I give them nice stuff. People that are nice on there, I'll donate them their $7 subscription that they're all stressed out about for the monthly pass or whatever. But, that's just more about me. So the bottom line is here, I'm going to go with Julie. But if you're watching, I encourage you to join the Telegram. There's so much more than I could ever give you here. But the community, that is, I can give you a lot here, but the community can give you so much more outside of these walls. And it's $9.99 to initially join, because we had a lot of people coming in trying to imitate me. Imitating wallets to have you send me your crypto, even though I would never do that. I never message anybody unless they message me, so remember that. And once we get a conversation going, then I'll feel okay to message you, but you've got to reach out to me first. It's just a rule I have in place. And you can cancel it after 1 month if you want. I don't care. I'd encourage you to pay it forward, but just go into the post section if you are members of Tom's Army, and go down here and click on the Telegram. It'll give you right in here. It's just some procedures we have in place to keep the spam out. We had to create a help desk. We had to create a security center to but we haven't had as much lately. We created Rose in here so that she can help us with some of the spam. We love you, Rose. Even though, we've all seen the Terminator, so we know what's coming. One by one, you're going to take over our jobs. But there's so much stuff. We got the general chat, group trading stuff set up, content links, so in case YouTube doesn't send it to you, step by step from when we go back to copy trading. We did rather well doing it, but we had some hiccups along the way. So we have to try to figure out a set plan. So I had to suspend it indefinitely until we come up with a better solution. We've got the big house daily read, just a declaration of prosperity that you better be reading when you come in here because Define put a lot of time into it, and so on and so forth. The technical lounge with Nick Morales, which is incredibly important, and it's the most popular section, I would say, right now. UB2B with his content, so incredibly funny, so beautifully done. He does his own work. He's testing out the black light right now. I've been so far behind. They're very pretty. But make sure you look at his stuff too. He does a lot of stuff for the community as well, based on the community. No more jibba jabba. Join Tom's Army. Things like this. You know, I love this stuff. Black looks for looks like foul play. God, I love it. I love it. But don't post links into his chat though, please. Be respectful of his stuff. But we got it's so awesome. You got the yellow emblem on your PlayStation.
Your little guy.
Oh yeah, that's my little guy. Yeah, I got that little guy. I forgot. Yeah, it is. It's a yellow emblem.
An eyeball, right?
He's like an eyeball almost. Yeah, that's him. That's my little fella.
With the arrow.
He's got an arrow. That's him.
Kind of reminds you of Sherman.
Yeah, he reminds me of Sherman a little bit. That's right. From back in the day. But yeah, that's me. That's me. And don't forget to give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this most holy of days, as we remain humble, show integrity, and try to lead by example. It's a very hazy day, so to say, but at the same time, you have to have days like these to see if this pattern is actually set up or if we're about to hit the gabosh. Right now, it's setting up, but if we pull down too far, we would hit the gabosh. But as we say, pay attention to Ethereum more than Bitcoin right now. But we still want to see if Bitcoin does come to 126. As long as we're over 3,564, we're okay. As long as we look like this, and I encourage you, XRPFutureMillionaire.com, as long as the MACD looks like this in the monthly, and it looks like we're crossing over to bullish, it looks like we're imminently going to do that. As long as the RSI continues with that momentum back into the better territories out of the neutral areas, and now we've broken bullish in the monthly, we're looking fan-fucking-tastic. I don't care what the micro says. In the macro right now, all hands on deck. If we break down these structures, well, you know, it is what it is, and we could have a very, very scary time down. But as it is, accumulation, yada, 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 don't look so deeply into the dailies and, you know, the 4 hourlies. Look more so into the weekly and monthly setups, and let's see where we're going. Daily's important in some of these golden cross if they happen. Yeah, some of them are incredibly important in the 4 hourly to see if we can push and make these golden cross for some that haven't. But overall, the monthly is going to win out regardless. So the 4 hourly builds into the daily, and the daily builds into the weekly, and the weekly builds in the monthly, and the monthly builds into the yearly. You know, that's just the way it goes. And right now, I'm very happy with what we're seeing. Jobs report, FOMC trade/tariff deals. I think things are fine, but problem is yes, there's a very data-heavy week. You are absolutely correct about that. And we're waiting a lot of it still here, but on my next update, we'll